To configure the linkage, you have to click on Configure Linkage button. And when you do that, a wizard that allows you to configure the linkage appears. The first step is stratification of the data, and stratification can be used if you have different a set of records in your input file, such that you want to use a bit different linkage conditions to each of these groups. It's not the case in our input data, so I'm just going to skip this step. In the second step of join configuration, you have to configure join condition and output columns. Output columns are the columns that will be saved in the output files. So I'm just going to press this plus button, and I'm just going to select all the attributes to be contained in the output file. Now I have to choose the join condition. I'm configuring the join condition by adding new subconditions to the condition. So I'm going to keep pressing this add new entry button, and when you press this button you see a new window which allows you to configure the first linkage subcondition. First, we will be comparing names in our record, so I'm going to choose name from source A and name from source B. The next thing is to choose distance metric, and basically distance metric show Fril how to compare given attributes. So you can use just equal fields boolean distance, or you can choose some distance that takes into account misspellings. An example of such distance is edit distance, and if you are interested in any other distance metrics, I refer you to Fril tutorial where each of these distances is explained. Here we have to choose some options for edit distance. As you see, there is approve level and disapprove level, and also we can choose empty value score, and we can choose select. We have to choose weight. The weight shows how important the comparing of names is, and weights of all the attributes that are compared have to add up to 100 in Fril. So I'm going to choose condition weight as 40 for my names, and now I'm ready to set the approve disapprove level parameters. Of course, you have no idea what these parameters mean, so if this is a case, you can always press this dynamic analysis window button. As you see, Fril goes to data source and it tries to read some sample values, and it's going to show you match score for these empty values. As you change the value of the attributes, this window gets actually updated, and you can basically play with those parameters of any distance metric and stop when you are getting what you want to get. So actually for names, it's usually the case that approve level of 0.1 and disapprove level of 0.3 works quite well. So I'm going to stop with those parameter values. The empty value score shows Fril how empty values should be treated. So if one of the names was empty, then in current configuration, the score for matching any value with empty value would be 0. You can change it, for instance, to 0.1 or to 0.3 or to whatever value you want. And you can play with this empty value score later to see what is the consequence of changing this option on your linkages. Once you are done with the configuration of name comparison, then you can just press OK. As you see, this time, when we press OK, we see a new row in our condition table. And as you see, we are using edit distance for names with weight 40 and empty value score 0. I'm going to keep adding those subconditions, so I'm going to compare dates next. The score for matching dates is going to be 30. And here again, actually, I don't want to use date distance. I'm going to use edit distance because I want to treat my dates as strings. The reason for that is usually dates have errors if they are typed in by human beings because, for instance, 1 and 7 look similar. So if you want to address these cases, it's good to use, for instance, edit distance, which can catch the cases where two dates are off only by one digit. Of course, date distance could do the same thing, but if you consider two dates and one of the dates has year 2001 and the other date has year 2007, then those dates are going to be 6 years apart, and date distance wouldn't work so well. The edit distance is probably a better option. What we want to do is we want to allow in this edit distance just one edit in between two dates. So basically, when two dates are exactly the same, we want the value of distance metric to be 1. When the two dates are off by one digit, we want the value of distance metric to be close to 0.5, and otherwise we want the value of the distance metric to be 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open a dynamic analysis window again, and I'm going to play with the attributes here, and I'm going to set the values to 0.05 and 0.2. As you see, if we choose this option, if we have the same dates, we have match score of 1. But if our dates are off by one digit, like here they are off by one digit, the match score is 0.22. We want the match score to be around 0.5 for this case. So I'm going to change the option here to be, for instance, maybe 0.3. This time, as you see, for exactly the same dates, we have match score of 1. But if our dates are off by one digit, then the match score is around 0.5. And there are no other values, which means that this is what we want. One more remark here: you can always press mouse button on any of these columns here, and you can sort the values according to any of the available columns. So this is the configuration for matching date of birth which we're interested in, and I'm going to press OK to apply this configuration. I'm going again to keep adding joining subconditions because I want to, for instance, compare sex. So we can compare sex. For sex, this is only 0 or 1 value, so I want to use equal fields Boolean distance, and I'm going to use weight of 5. Next, I'm going to keep adding, and I want to compare race. So I'm going to choose race and race, and again, race is just one digit, 0 through 5 or 6, so I want to choose equal fields Boolean distance for this case, and I'm going to choose a condition weight of 5. I'm going to keep adding next subcondition, and this time I want to compare heights. The height is a specific attribute because it can change over time. If you measure your patient twice, he can have a bit different heights. So what we want to use this time is we want to use numeric distance, which can take into account that one value is, let's say, within 10% range of the other value, and we want to use actually this kind of condition for comparison. So I'm going to choose numeric distance. I'm going to choose range as percentage. I'm going to say value between value minus 10% and value plus 10%. It means that if the value, if one value is within the range of 10% of the other value, those two values will have non-zero distance metric value. I'm going to choose condition weight 10, and I'm going to see some examples. As you see, if the two values are exactly the same, then they are receiving match score of 1. If they are further apart, they are receiving lower match scores. Of course, you can play with the attributes here, and when you play with the attributes, you would see that something changes. So you can always adjust your configuration to what you want to have. I'm happy with this configuration, so I'm going just to press OK to apply it. And I'm going to add one more comparison, which is the comparison of weights. So again, similar as for heights, I'm going to use numeric distance and the range of value minus 10%, value plus 10%. I'm going to give condition weight of 10, and I'm going to apply this configuration. As you see now, current sum of weights adds up to 100. and acceptance level is 100. This is not good because basically acceptance level tells you what is the minimal match score for two records that you consider to be links or to be matches. So basically, I have to tell you how Fril calculates the match score. When you have a weight and you have comparison method, the comparison method always gives you a value between 0 and 1. This value is multiplied by weight, and then those products for each of the subconditions which are used for join condition are added together. So as you see, if your comparison method gives you 1 for each of the subconditions, then the match score for such pair of records would be 100. However, if for instance sex is different, then your match score would be 95. So as you see, the less similar two records are, the lower the match score is going to be for this pair of records. So we are going to choose acceptance level, and it's going to be lower than 100. Actually, if your two records have matching names and matching dates, then they are going to have a weight of 70. So I'm going to choose 71 as the acceptance level. What it means is that you have to have a match score on, for instance, both name and date of birth, and you have to have additional match score on any of these other compared attributes. You can also use EM method to suggest you these ways, and I encourage you to play with this EM method later. So I'm ready to proceed to the last step of join configuration. So in this linkage configuration step, we have to choose join method type. There are quite a few options available, and I'm going to choose with sorted neighborhood method. And if you are not sure what those join method types mean, I encourage you to take a look at Fril tutorial or at one of the publications about Fril that is available on Fril webpage, where basically sorted neighborhood method and all other join method are explained. I'm happy with the sort order of this sorted neighborhood method and with a window size of 8. So I'm going to leave the configuration here as it is. One more thing, you can enable a summary of not joined data in both data sources. So basically what you might want to do is to enable those options if you want to see what records were not joined by a given Fril run. So I'm going to choose both options, and I'm going to press finish. I want you to save the configuration to some file so that I can open this file later if, for instance, I close Fril. So I'm going to choose option file and save as, and I'm going to name my configuration file as tutorial. I choose the name tutorial and I can press save, and basically what Fril does is just save the configuration as a tutorial in tutorial file, and basically later you can open this file if you want to. Now I am going to proceed to the result savers configuration. As you see there, once you press the result saver configuration button, a wizard which allows you to configure the result savers appears. The first step we have to do here is to tell Fril to which file save the results. To do that, I'm going to press this Add New Entry button. I'm going to choose CSV file data saver, which basically creates CSV file, and I'm going to name my output file as results CSV. Once I do that, you see that a new row appears in the table. You can also choose results duplication, basically to restrict your linkages in some ways. So for instance, you might want to restrict your linkages in such a way that exactly one record from the first data source can be compared with exactly one record in the other data source, or in such a way that exactly one record from the other data source can be compared with exactly one record from first data source. So if you are interested in the results duplication, I refer you to Fril tutorial PDF document that is on Fril webpage, where you can find further details on in this matter. I'm not going to use results duplication at this moment, so I'm ready to press finish. Once every component in Fril is green, we can start the linkage. To start the linkage, you have to press this play button here, and when you do that, you see that the progress bar advances and your linkage is done. Once the linkage is done, you see a message that contains summary, providing number of records provided by both data sources and number of linkages. You can close this window and now you can see the results. So to see the linkage results, you have to press this magnifying glass button which reads View Results. And when you do that, a new window which contains results of the linkage appears. As you see, you have information about confidence of this pair of records, and then all the attributes that were used for linkage. And also, you can, for instance, see preferences of or details of each of the records. And when you scroll and move mouse over on these records, you see all the detailed values of the attributes. You can also choose multiple options here, like for instance, you can sort the linkages. So you can sort the linkages on multiple attributes. So for instance, you can sort on confidence and then on names from both data sources. If you do that, your records will be basically sorted in the order of attributes you chose. So as you see, I chose to sort linkages on confidence first and then on names. So this is what I see in the in my table. You can also filter linkages. So for instance, you can see only linkages that has particular value for attributes or particular confidence. Also, you can export the linkages from current view, or you can set the preferences of this view. Also, if you chose in the linkage configuration to create a summary of not joined data, then you can see the not joined records by pressing any of these two magnifying glasses with minus sign. So when you do that, you see all the records that have not been joined from given data source. You can also alternatively go to the Fril directory, and in that directory you can locate the file that was saved by Fril, which you configured in result savers. And this file would be a CSV file, and it can be opened by any software that can read CSV files. So, for instance, this software includes Microsoft Excel or OpenOffice spreadsheet, or you can even open CSV file in a SaaS software if you want to. This concludes this tutorial or introductory tutorial to Fril. I encourage you to look at PDF tutorial document which describes all the components of Fril in details, and also I encourage you to read the publications or documentation from Fril webpage, where you can find many interesting details about the software. Thank you very much.